Hello guys. Today in this video I'll be teaching you about the trial balance. That trial balance is a summary of the balances of debit and credit from your ledger accounts and how we have to maintain it, how we have to prepare us. One column we take for the particulars. You can take also one more column for the serial numbers. There would be one column for the debit and another column would be for the credit. For the debit you will write the rupees and for the credit balance you would also write the rupees amount over here, right? For that particular purpose, whatever information is given to you in the question regarding the different accounts, you will write under the head particulars. Now how to place the things on the debit and credit side, this we're gonna focus on. So let's start with that. First of all, you have to keep in your mind that what carries the debit balance. The debit balance is carried by assets, okay, then expenses and losses. Expenses and losses, they carry a debit balance, right? Then when we talk about the credit balances, they would be the liability of the business. Either it would be the capital brought in by the owner, or it would be the income or gain to the business. Every income or gain to the business will carry which kind of balance? Credit. Keeping this in mind, you will identify the given accounts. Like cash in hand is your asset, so asset, right? It is your asset, so it carries a debit balance, so its given balance would be written in the debit column. Now capital is itself having a credit balance, so it will be carried to the credit side. Now bank is again an asset, so it will have a debit balance. If bank overdraft is given, then it would be a liability, then it will become a credit balance. Then advertisement is expense, it will carry debit balance. Then rent and rates and taxes, it is also an expense to the business, so it will carry a debit balance. Then sales are income to the business, right? These are income, so it will carry a credit balance. Creditors, they are a liability, so it will carry a credit balance. Carriage on sale, carriage on purchase. First of all, when we say carriage itself, it is an expense. Whether on purchase or on sale, it would be debited here, right? So when we talk about on sale and purchase, on purchase and sale, that means carriage on sale is carriage outward, is carriage outward, and carriage on purchase is carriage inward. This is your direct expense, this is your indirect expense. The expenses which are incurred on purchases are direct and which are incurred on sales are indirect. That will discuss about the final accounts point of view, but here the both are expense, so both should be debited. Then manufacturing expense again is a expense itself, so it would be debited. Manufacturing wages, salaries are also expense, so it would be debited. And rent received is there, that means it's your income, so it should be given a credit here, right? Then we talk about purchase return. Purchase return is your you can say reduction in expense. Purchases are expense, purchase return is reduction in expense. So when there is something which is reducing your expense, should be credited, so purchase return is credited. Sundry debtors are your assets, so it should carry a debit balance. And then bank charges, that is your expense, so it should be given a debit balance. Discount, here the question is silent about discount is allowed or received. If it is mentioned allowed, then expense and it should be debited. If it is mentioned it is received, then it is income, it should be credited. But when question is silent, we assume it to be an expense, so it should be debited, right? Then opening stock, that is your asset, fine, so it should carry a debit balance. Then sales return, sales are income to the business and sales return is reduction in your income, so it should be given a debit. Sales are given a credit, sales returns are given a debit. Purchases expense, so it should be debited. Plant and machinery is your asset, so it should be debited. Loan to Ram, when we are giving loan, so that become an asset, so it should also be debited. Now what you have to do, you have to total up your summary of the statement of your trial balance for the debit balance and for the credit balance. If the total tallies, that means your trial balance is correctly prepared. If it does not tally, it could be a case of missing information. Then the question will tell that there is missing capital, missing sales, or missing purchases. If the question is not saying that, that means you have conducted a mistake. One important point to highlight over here is that when we say about closing stock is also given in the question, closing stock is never ever shown in the trial balance. Why it is not shown in the trial balance? Because it carries a double adjustment in your final account, so it is to be kept outside the trial balance. It is unaccounted one, so it is not shown in your trial balance. There is only one specific case when we show the closing stock in the trial balance, that I'll discuss in the next video. Thank you. Accountitude, keep scoring, like, share and subscribe to my channel.